Hey guys, it's Em. I'm currently sat on my bed. This is very casual. This is the video that talks about my final year at Falmouth University, which I don't even understand how I've ended up at this point. Like, it's gone so horrifically fast. And people always said to me when I went to uni, oh, your 3 years will fly past. And I was like, no, it won't. It'll be really slow. And now I'm graduating and I can't believe that like 2.5 years of my life has gone past. If you don't know me, I am Em. I'm a 3rd year on press and editorial photography at Falmouth University. Falmouth University is in Cornwall. I'm originally from South London. I thought I'd talk through what I submitted for my final year at uni because I haven't spoken about it at all. If you follow me on Instagram, you may well have like a little inkling, but I haven't really talked about my actual uni works. First term you have 2 modules. You have your dissertation, which is 6,000 words and it's worth 20% of the module. You have your practical side of the module, which is a 5-part portfolio and then a written hand-in as well, which you have a written like report that goes alongside every hand-in. That's just the way the course goes. So the 5-part portfolio was personal pursuit around the dissertation, a social issue, something based on the audience, and for the 4th year. So they were the 5 parts. This is a lot of work. Like, I think our course has the most work of all the photography courses, and I'm genuinely not trying to toot our trumpet here, but I don't know any other like course who had to explore 5 different huge areas of work before you decided what you wanted to do for your FMP. Like, these weren't small hand-ins of let's just hand in 3 prints. These were like, let's make masses of work for each individual one and then hand that in. My dissertation was a 6,000 word essay. The question is as follows. The visual image is a vital component in the consumption of music and engagement with artists. How is music transmitted and where is the role of the visual image? Basically, it involved the music industry and it involved imagery and it involved what kind of role does the musician play and what role does the artist play, and how do they work together. I actually kind of messed up with my dissertation. I got a 2-1, which is still remarkable to me, because I wrote my dissertation in 2 weeks because I went on tour with Lauren Hibbard, who is an upcoming like artist from the Isle of Wight, who's also one of my really, really dear friends. I got back to Falmouth on the Friday, 2 weeks before my dissertation deadline. I'd done all of my research, but I hadn't actually started writing, and then I got the flu and was bedbound for a few days. So I basically had a week. They always said prioritise your practical work, which is why I went on tour. And somehow I managed to finish my dissertation, hand it in, get a 2-1. I submitted it 30 seconds before the deadline, didn't have time to proofread it, but I do think it was a cracking piece of writing and I would really like to see kind of what I did. And then in my practical work, I made a lot of work. So because we had a 5-part portfolio, we could hand in however we wanted. 2 were online. The audience-based work was an online PDF which showed all of the work that I'd taken for Lauren, where it had been viewed, how many of her like followers had interacted with it, and it was like an analytics kind of document, which the tutors loved because it showed that my work had an audience which wasn't driven by myself. And then I also submitted my website, which was for the 4th year, because I worked really hard on doing website revamp before hand-in, so that was also part of my hand-in. So my social issue slash story slash news slash community piece was this. This is a zine, it's A5, it's called Dining in the Digs. I basically went to a lot of my friends' houses for dinner because I really like cooking, and this gave them an excuse to cook for me. But it's a book that basically, it has a lot of photography work in it, and I went for dinner at different people's houses. The 3 case studies in this book all live on the same road, and my whole point was that these are students who all really love to cook, and they all live really close together, so it's like a community within a road. We had to create a visual representation of our dissertation, which I created in the form of this book, which has lots of different photos of me and Lauren's time on tour. She played some huge shows, so these are photos from, like, there's some film stills of this is Rafe is her tour driver, who's just a wonderful man, and there's loads of different photos in here. There's photos from the gigs themselves, and it's made into like almost like a diary style book. It's got like a lot of like written bits and pieces from me about how each show was. I'm thinking about making this into a limited print run. I need to speak to Lauren about it, but there's a lot of stuff in here that I think people would really enjoy to see. And then my personal pursuit project was a little bit deeper. So I don't really make like stereotypically artsy work. That's more what the BA photography course do. Most of my work serves like a lot more of a purpose as such, like it's mainly for other people. I don't really, or didn't used to really shoot for myself. I touched on it before, but last time I basically wasn't in a very good place in my brain at all. Some stuff happened involving a boy I was just basically very gutted about. The aftermath of all of that happening has been very sour. I'm still very fragile over the subject. It's hard to talk about because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, and I'd love to because I think that'd be hilarious, but I'm also not a horrible person and I'm not going to do that. So basically my brain wasn't in a great place last summer, so I started shooting a load of work because I wanted something to distract myself from all of the festivals I was doing. I just wanted a body of work that was my own. So I started working on a body of work called Liwa, which was a series of portraits of the people who basically made my brain feel better. So it included the people that I lived with in the summer, some of my really close pals, and then also some other people who were always on the phone. Basically just really cracking people. And then I used these as printed postcards that I created for my hand-in. So each one of these has a little note on the back, and it states like how they helped me, what they did, who they are, what they mean to me, etc, etc. And that's all viewable via my website. I don't really shoot personal work, and it was actually really fun just to shoot some stuff for myself. I ended first term of third year with a 2-1, which is how I've ended every year of uni, really, with a 2-1. Really was just kind of like, cool, I survived. I knew there was part of me who knew I could have got a first overall in uni if I really pushed in third year, and I was really relying on creating a huge body of work because obviously we're going to be able to print it all out and it was going to be amazing. We're going to have a show, we could have exhibitions, but then Miss Corona hit and none of that could happen. So things kind of took a little bit of a turn, but I'm going to talk about that. So term 2 happened. Now term 2 is split into 2 parts. Much simpler. You literally have a practical module and a written module. The written module is a 5,000 word essay about your time at university. When you say that out loud, it seems ridiculous and vile, but you're literally talking about the things that were important to you over your time at university. It's meant to be a critical and like creative reflection. So I did mine I hand wrote the whole document on my iPad, which killed me because I had to handwrite 5,000 words, but it was also really fun. Then the practical side of it, which is the thing that's actually that interesting to you guys, is that I basically did a 5-part hand-in. Suddenly at home all the time from March onwards, I'd already done a lot of work for my course, but I was like, I have all this time, I may as well do all these things. Part 1 was a podcast. So some of you may know, but I launched a podcast. It's called Noisy Women. It's available to listen to on Spotify, Apple Music, Acast, any place that you can listen to a podcast. It is listenable on. I started working on the podcast in February. I recorded all the podcasts before lockdown happened, so all of the episodes were recorded way before social distancing, so I was travelling to and from London before coronavirus really hit, which is really lucky in hindsight. So I worked really hard making the podcast, making all the branding stuff for that. Then I also made a branding document about myself, which talks about what I am as a creative, the kind of different avenues that I work within, how I plan to like survive post-grad. I also handed in my YouTube as part of my second term hand-in because I'd done a lot of work on my YouTube during lockdown and it was a perfect way to show that I can also make videos, so I handed that in too. I also handed in a book that I'd made. So I made up a book that I wanted to get printed if lockdown hadn't have happened. It was a A5 book, which was half of its portraits, half of its live music. The whole point was that you could put it in your back pocket and you could take it to a festival, give it to a band, and they could flick through while I was setting up my camera settings and having a play with my camera. They could look at my work and see how I was going to shoot them. It was basically a small scale physical portfolio. Oh, I also made up an audience document. This included all of the work that I'd done for Lauren because I did a load of her shows and single art work this year, and it also included a load of work that I'd done with my friend Nana, and it basically highlighted where the work could be viewable, how many people had seen it, etc, etc. So it was a lot of work. I basically sat at my desk from 9 till 6 every day for the entire first period of lockdown. For the first like 9 weeks, all I did was work. So yeah, that was what I handed in for my degree. Now you're all like, oh, so what did you get then? There was actually an issue when our results came out. They were meant to come out at 9:30 on Monday morning. They didn't come out until 2 p.m. on Monday morning, and they came out staggered. They were all meant to come out at once, but they didn't, and no one told us when they were viewable. I got a feedback form from my lecturers with what my grades for each module were. So I got this feedback form through, and it literally stated that in my physical work for this term I got 93%, which is ridiculously high, and if anyone goes to uni they know that's pretty absurd and doesn't really happen ever. I still feel absolutely speechless. I just can't believe that I got such a ridiculously high grade. It feels pretty nuts, and I know it wasn't like a compensation grade. I know it wasn't, oh, because you're inside, you poor thing, here's his grade. I know it's because I worked my butt off. I just knew I had a 63, a 68 and a 93, and then some 2-1s from last year and 2-1s this year. So I had no idea what my final overall grade was, but I opened my results sheet, and I should have done a lot. We should have recorded it because it was pretty priceless. But I'm proud to say that I'm graduating Falmouth University with a first class honours degree, which I think if you had said to me in first year that I was leaving Falmouth with a first class degree, or even if you told me last year that I was leaving Falmouth with a first class degree, to be honest, even if you told me last month, I would have just told you incorrect, because there was no way with my record of grades that was going to happen. I'm very chuffed and very over the moon. Everyone's very speechless. Everyone is very surprised because I don't think anyone expected me to do so well. I didn't even expect I could do so well. I put all of my all into it. I feel like a very, very proud bean. The workload of third year, especially on my course, was intense. Like, it was a lot. But it's one of those courses where you don't have to do the work if you don't want to. Like, you could very easily, like, scrape through and you'd be fine, but you wouldn't get the most out of what the uni was offering, and you wouldn't make the most of your money you were spending. I didn't want to be that person who just scraped through. I wanted to make sure that I did as much work as I could, and that I knew that I was graduating as strong as I possibly could be. So I know I've done most that was possible. I can't really believe that the end of uni is here, in the sense of that means there's kind of no more like uni vlogs, because I don't go to uni anymore, which is really horrible. There's definitely going to still be a load more content because I'm not actually leaving Falmouth. I think people probably wonder that. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going home for a few weeks in the summer, but I'll be in Cornwall for the majority of the summer, and probably, well, like 98% certain of next year. I just haven't got a house yet. I'm just kind of looking around my room and just looking how sad it looks and thinking, like, I'm not gonna live with like the boys next year, and everything's just kind of changing, and I've been trying to block it out because it's easier. I think I may try and make like a uni through the years video if I have time, or maybe I'll make it at some point, because I think it'd be really fun to like compile everything I have from 3 years at uni. Basically, graduating Falmouth University with a first class degree after being adamant that I was going to be achieving a 2-1. So can imagine my emotions recently have been very skyrocketed because it all just still feels backwards and ridiculous, to be honest. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my work grow and develop over 3 years, because I still can't believe that it's done, and I can't believe how much I've kind of grown as a creative as well. I'm looking forward to not being a student anymore. I'm not going to be doing a master's anytime soon. I don't want eye bags as badly as I did during my time of my degree at all. I've strained my eyes so bad I now have to wear glasses, so there's no way I'm going back to being a student anyway. No way on earth. Like and subscribe if you want to. Comment down below something random if you want to, and I'll see you guys super soon. Bye guys.